Good afternoon, Sales Nation. This is Andrew here with the Starting in Sales podcast, helping you uncover the secret to charisma in sales. And today I am joined by a guest host, also a beautiful girlfriend, Rachel Wilde. She is here from Salesforce to talk with us today about referrals, how important they are, why we should be asking for them, and how to ask for them. So, Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I mean, hard to beat that kind of introduction, but like you said, I'm an account executive over at Salesforce, but really I've been in tech most of my career from, different cybersecurity platforms to other cloud hosting platforms, and I know what we'll get in today, but SaaS, huge industry, and excited to see where we go from it today.
Let's get into referrals and why they are important to be asking for. So, as I alluded to earlier, we're obviously in a tough spot in the economy, so it's really imperative to take advantage of all the tools that are at your disposal. That includes previous buyers. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of sales reps who let their buyers kind of dwindle away after the sale's been made. And so we're trying to take advantage of that buyer, that relationship that we created with that buyer, and that value we provided to that buyer by making a simple request. Rachel, what is that request?
A referral.
Ask for a referral. That's all you got to do. What's the saying from the Bible? Those who ask shall receive, right? Is that how it goes? Usually. So that's what we're talking about here. So again, the what? Asking current and past customers for referrals could be the most effective way to build your pipeline. The why? Referral business often leads to more referrals if you are providing the best customer service. And then the how? Ask the question and set a check-in sequence. So I've written down B here, best way to gain instant influence. There's already a trust factor that's there. If you close a successful deal, business, loan, whatever it is that you're selling, if you got that closed with that buyer, there's already a trust factor there that you worked so hard to ascertain. So why would you throw that out the window? I think you were just kind of alluding to this too with the trust. It's easier closing. Obviously, you can imagine the majority of the initial outreach from a cold call to a sale is avoided when you're going from a referral to a sale. So there's that. And then the last point I'll allude to on the why is the referral cycle. So providing a referral with a great customer service experience is going to lead to that referral giving you more referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're helping one side, again, I'm going to go into it because this is where the industry that I'm in is these enterprise style companies. And if you're able to help one division, chances are there might be a similar issue in another division that you might be able to assist. And by you helping alleviate some of that pain, not only are you helping build your brand, but again, that customer that you initially started with, you're helping build their brand within their company. So it's a win-win for you. It's a win-win for the customer. Win-win for everyone.
Yeah, no, a referral is a win-win for everyone. I think that could pretty much sum up this podcast here. But let's get into the actual how, because I know that's important. We could talk about the whys all day, but let's dive into the action. So the first and best type of ask is going to be from someone who you've recently closed with. Obviously, you have them top of mind, they have you top of mind. And if you were able to just knock that customer experience out of the park, it's a really easy ask. So what you're going to do is you're going to
build rapport.
Yeah, or rapport that we already built, right? So what you're able to do, if you just provided a great customer experience with that individual, why would they not want to refer you out? It makes them look good and it makes you look good. So like Rachel alluded to earlier, it's a win-win for everybody. And then my last point on the how, I have experienced. And I was thinking about why I put this here, but I think it's very important. Depending on your industry, they're looking up to this guy and this guy's also referring me out. Why wouldn't they go with me when they see that the person they're looking up to in that industry is also able to go with me as well? So those are the hows in terms of who you're targeting, and then I have here the hows in terms of how to actually ask.
Right. So if we can go back to that how again, for the experience part, I think there's another thing that you're leaving out, which is super important. I mean, when it comes to, the real estate industry, when you're looking for a realtor or you're looking for a lender, and then if you take it a step further and you're like, okay, well, what about tech? If we're looking for, a CRM or, an ERP, how many realtors are out there?
A lot.
How many lenders are out there?
A lot.
How many CRMs are out there?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, so you get it. There's so many things out there. So, I mean, again, you're making it so much easier for the buyer when you're able to help them make that decision of which one they should go with, because they've already seen that this is a proven, system that works, or lender that works. And if you're making that sales cycle easier for them, that's a huge how there too, that you can't leave out.
No, not at all. That is a huge how. You really, if you're able to differentiate yourself from these other services with one prospect, and he's able to provide you that referral for another one, you've basically already cut out that whole
cut out the noise, really.
Process. Yeah. So that's just great. And again, wraps kind of back around to the economy. There's a lot of companies who are cutting their inbound leads right now. So why aren't you going back to your list of customers and saying, look, you remember the value I provided. Let's see if there's anyone else that could use my services. I think that's a good segue into the specifics. So how to actually make the ask. So I've got 6 steps here, and I actually want to go over them one by one and then talk about them in depth. Do you think that's cool?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's go over the first one. It's to reiterate the problem your buyer was facing. So this is, again, guys, how specific. This is when you're calling a past customer and you're asking for that referral. So when you're on that call, you're going to reiterate the problem that your buyer was facing. So they needed a quick closing. They needed financing on a property that didn't have many comps, something like that. So that's 1. 2 is to reiterate the results you delivered to solve the problem. So was I able to provide that quick closing? 3, reference anything that happened during the sales cycle that was above and beyond. So again, was I able to overcome those issues that you had? So what were the issues that you had? What were the results that I delivered? And were there some specific metrics that were tangible that you were able to acknowledge? So number 4 is ask who else could benefit from this service. So after you reiterate the problem that you solved for that customer, this is when you make the ask. Who else could benefit from this service? 5 is going to be send a follow-up email the same day, the next day, 1 week, and then 1 month later. Now, this is subjective. This is what works for me. And then number 6 is, if applicable, businesses that have repeat clients like loan officers and have the ability to deliver news whenever a program changes. And then maybe this is the same thing in the CRM world. When something updates, maybe you're able to reach back out to that client and try and upsell them at that point, or try and ask for a referral at that point. So what do you think about those 6 steps, how the specifics, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you were going through those 6 steps, like you're going over the what, why, how, and what made it different, what made it a great experience for them. And like as you're going through that, they're going to say yes, yes, yes. And when people say yes, they're more likely to take action and go and talk about how awesome their experience was. Because even like looking on Yelp, how often are you seeing people go through and say, oh my gosh, 5 stars?
No, it's rare. Yeah, you have to really have provided a great service. I think even for us to leave 5-star reviews when we go out, they had to knock it out of the park. What do you think about that step 6? Do you have times where you're able to upsell, or maybe have a reason to call a past buyer? Maybe something's updated and you can just out of the blue make the ask for the referral then?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Or just like, having that genuine interest in your customer. And, on social media, almost every company out there has some kind of presence. So kind of staying on top of that, seeing, what updates is their company putting out? Was their CEO, CFO just recently in the news talking about some of their initiatives that they're working on? Reaching out and saying, hey, I saw, so-and-so was talking about this, that, and whatever. Like, I think there might be something that might be able to help with that initiative. And by you going to, your customer that you had that relationship with, you're arming them with all of the information they need to go and make a recommendation to their leadership and be like, hey, in reference to these strategies that we're working on, I've already found a couple of options for solutions to help with this thing going into 2023. And again, providing value from their perspective to their company, but then also providing value to you in getting to have another partnership.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's just, oh man, I don't know what to say. You said it earlier, it's a win-win for everyone. I'm going to say I think it's really easy. I think if you're providing the right customer experience, the right service throughout the transaction, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to. Now, if you get the closing and this is someone who you wouldn't ask to leave a Google review for you, then yeah, don't ask them for a referral. Maybe skip that person. Maybe something went wrong that was out of your control and it just made for an uncomfortable experience, right? don't ask them. That's not the part I'm saying is easy. I would skip that individual. But the people who you kill it, you knock it out of the park for, maybe you get them a discount, you close a little bit faster. There's no reason not to ask for that referral. It's just it's easy business that a lot of sales rep are passing up on, in my opinion.
And I think there's also a couple of different ways that you can get a referral from a customer. It's not just like, hey, can you tell me another person I can reach out to? Another way to get a referral kind of is by kind of like in your industry asking for a Google review, and then in the tech industry it's called a customer case study, where they talk about, you know, where their pain was, what the issue was, and then we get to talk about, hey, how did we come in and help partner with you to solve that problem? And so being able to have that customer case study, I get to go to different customers and say, hey, you know, so-and-so was really similar to you and they're in the same industry. They had a kind of a similar problem and here's how we solved it. Because again, now we're reducing the risk because they've seen, okay, well, this isn't cutting edge, you know, I'm not taking a risk here. And oh, by the way, they've helped this other company that's also super successful. So again, finding those win-wins for everybody where you get a referral, they get a problem solved. Like that.
Yeah, and that's actually really cool. I want to hear more about that. That's something I'm assuming happens post-closing, but not only that, that's something that you can reuse time and time again. Whenever that problem comes up, you can maybe ask the client to update the date if it's been 2 years, but you can send that out and say, hey, they had the same problem. Look at what happened for them. Is that just something you ask them to fill out after closing, like when everything's said and done?
So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You know, if it's someone who you've done business with repeatedly, definitely go ahead and ask for, do you mind doing a customer case study? And there are some customers who are like thrilled to do it. And there are some customers who might not want their name out there, but they're willing to talk about their story, and you can kind of tell it from that perspective and kind of leave the name off. Or even in the deal cycle, I know that most of the time when, you know, you're negotiating with a customer, everybody wants to leverage price or, you know, leverage a date. Well, maybe what you can try is say, hey, I can go and get this done for you, but what I would like in return is like, hey, if you have a really great implementation, the project goes off without a hitch, you know, I would love to get a customer case study written with you guys that we might be able to share with other customers. So you get to leverage it as a referral. You get to leverage it as a negotiation to get the deal closed. So
it's a win-win for everybody.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Sales Nation, I think that wraps it up. Ask for referrals, especially now in the economy that we're in right now. I'm seeing companies cut leads left and right. Not only that, we're seeing people get, you know, let go of. So maybe if you need some help hitting some metrics, this could help you. I think we went over the why, we went over the how in terms of who to target, and then the how in terms of how to ask this specific question. I love the customer case studies that you brought up there at the end. I think that was some crucial information. And I will leave with this. I'll leave everyone with this. Remember, a phone call is worth 1,000 emails. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, guys.
Smile and dial, baby.
Smile and frickin' dial. That is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 3 of the Starting in Sales podcast. And until next time, see ya.